How's everybody doing? Okay, let me, I'm used to talking to people, lots of people, mostly men, because that's what I do, men's mentoring. But I'm a little nervous tonight because this is the first time I've really spoken in front of my beautiful wife. So I know that once it's over, she's gonna say, you know what? You should have said this. You should have said that. So can you guys give my wife a beautiful Alicia? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Please pay attention real close, because you're going to get segments that you're going to say, oh, okay, now I see how that fit into this piece that evolved into all this. Okay, here we go. Starting with my father. My father was a man that never taught me anything, but he showed me a lot. We could put this whole ceiling in. I'd pass him the hammer, the nails, the partitions, whatever we needed to do. If we worked on the car, he'd put a new carburetor in, put a new engine in. I'd hand him all the ratchets, everything he needed. But he never told me why this piece goes here, why we're putting this piece over here and connecting it to that. First part of the story. Second piece comes real far forward. I come in the military. I'm in the Air Force. I have a friend of mine that shoots pool with me. We shoot pool all the time. I'm a good pool shooter. He's a good shooter. But I'm a E2. He's an E5. He's going, taking his classes, and we're shooting pool all the time. That's all we talk about, shooting pool. Well, years later, I run into him. Now he's a major in the Air Force. I'm an E6. And it dawns on me, I said, when we were playing pool all those times, why didn't you pull me aside and say, Ron, you should take some college classes and think about being an officer down the road. We never talked about that. Okay, let's go to segment 3. Best friend when I was in the Air Force. We were stationed in Mildenhall, England. We would vent to each other. He was my best friend. His wife was my wife's best friend. So, which is very rare. Sometimes your buddy is never, his wife is never your wife's best friend. It just never works out. But anyway, so him and I would get together sometime, and sometimes we just vent. We man, my wife, today, just because I left my socks downstairs and my shoes on the kitchen table, what's the big deal? Just take the shoes off the table, wipe the table off. And then he would say things that his wife also would say, yeah, my wife does that too. I come home from the gym, I just dump all my stuff on the bed. It's what's the big deal? I want to take it off. I know it's sweaty, but I'll take it off in a minute, just put a towel over there to dry off the sweat, off the comforter. So we became, it was this venting thing that guys just never get to do. Okay, coming full forward. First and foremost, I want to apologize to our former President Bush. The economy and the collapse of the banking industry was not his fault. That was mainly on me. I'll explain that in a minute. So taking those 3 stories, now what I do, I'm a men's mentoring coach. I've been doing that for the last 7 years in my church out in Chesapeake called The Mount, with Bishop Kim Brown as my pastor. And how all that came into fruition. I've been doing it 7 years, every Monday, from anywhere from 80 guys to 150 guys, every Monday for 7 years. We talk about those things that I just told you about. We talk about how you can improve your life, like I said about my buddy that was a staff sergeant when I was airman, and how to do something when you're hanging out with your friends, and it's almost like I'm ignoring the ladies in here because I'm used to talking to guys, but ladies, I'll be right back to you. I'm telling guys this because as men, come on guys, now y'all gotta help me with that. Your wife will tell her sister, her best friend, her mother, every bit of your business, because that's what they do. That's what they do. Guys, am I right? We don't do that. Our best buddy will never know what we're going through, ever, because we don't talk like that. But we need to. So God laid it on my heart 7 years ago to create an environment where men could come and just be men and just talk and understand that the stresses that you're going through, the things that you're dealing with, the things you want to eventually evolve to, other men are going through the same thing. Now, ladies, tell me, when you tell your girlfriend about your boyfriend, when you tell your girlfriend about your husband, don't they always say, yeah, mine too, he does the same thing? Well, when guys do, we've realized that we're not an anomaly either. It's the same thing with us. So what has evolved? Again, when I said about my father didn't teach me anything, he showed me a lot of things. So what we do with men's mentoring, I'm one of the facilitators, and I have 3 other guys that facilitate with me. What we talk about is things that you can improve in your life, how you can improve your marriage, how you can improve your career, how you can set goals, how you can do things that you need a man to tell you how to do that in this day and age. A lot of guys just don't have men telling men what you can do better in your life. And the other thing is, I said about the venting, the other thing is how you can improve in your life. The very first guest I had come and speak to the men at my first men's mentoring was Frank Batten. Frank Batten and I worked together. This was a guy, what I call what I do now, bringing the unreachable to the teachable. Meaning people that you would normally never be able to talk to or think you would never be able to talk to. Well, I bring that person right front and face. Here's the guy. Ask him what you need to ask him. Ask him, what does it take? How did you become a billionaire? What kind of business, what are kind of assets of what you do? How can other people learn from you to do that? Did the same thing with Judge Eileen Oles, who's the domestic court judge in Chesapeake. Same thing with her, having guys ask questions about, okay, my child support is this, or my visitation is this, or I'm looking to get divorced and it didn't work out. I'm back married to her and I don't know how I stayed. How did I get back out of this? But it's one of those things where, okay, men need to understand that there are other men out there just like you that have questions, that have concerns, that have pressures on them, just like ladies do. But we need to talk as well to each other. We need an environment where we're comfortable and trustworthy. And I want to tell you this, and then I'm done. At one of these meetings, we were talking about the way you grow up, different things you have when you grow up, different positive things, different things that impacted your life. I don't know how it got here, but one guy stood up and said he was molested as a child. By the time the night was over, and this was an environment at the time, I think it was about 70, 80 guys, we had about 7 guys that said the same thing. They had never, ever talked about it before. Each one of these 7 guys, one was by his sister, one was by her uncle. And you got to understand, ladies, for a man to stand up in front of other men and to say this had happened to him, and these guys in their 30s and 40s said they'd never, ever, their wives, some of these guys have been married for years and they never even talked about it with their wives. And it was a big emotional moment for these guys to say that. So, of course, we addressed it as best we could. You know, we discussed it. One of the guys said he's been married 3 times. He could never stay faithful in his marriage because he kept trying to prove to himself that he was a man. Why would another man look at me in a feminine way? So all his infidelity really had a purpose, if you want to say it had a purpose, was trying to prove something to himself. So I say that to say that this men's mentoring, it can go from the deep to the lighthearted, but men have things inside them that they need to talk about, that sometimes you never get a chance to express. So we do that every week. I love it. And the funny thing about that, the economy. Let me come back to that. Didn't want to forget. Thanks for reminding me. I was getting ready to move to Atlanta through Wachovia Bank. Everything was flowing. I was meeting with the regional directors. Everybody's coming down from Philly and Jersey to meet with me, interview me. I finally go down to Atlanta for the final interview. Everything's going great. Matter of fact, I left that final interview in Atlanta with the vice president of the bank down there, Wachovia, went right out and started looking for a condo. Started sending pictures back to my wife. It's on and popping. Mind you, this has been going on for about 2 months straight. All the interviews and everything was going beautiful. So all of a sudden, I don't hear nothing from anybody. I called my buddy up, Tony Barnes, he was a VP at business loans for Wachovia. I said, what's going on? He said, I don't know. He said, something's going on, I don't know what's going on. So finally, all of the banking stuff starts collapsing. You hear about all the banks, all the stuff that's going on. So it dawned on me that because I was planning to move to Atlanta, God said, you know what? I want to shut all this down. Because I need him right here to start this men's mentoring. Because that is his passion. That is what he wants to do. That is a necessity with men. Like I said, we've been doing it for 7 years straight, every Monday for 7 years. So God said, you know what? I'm going to shut all this down. Matter of fact, just in case he tried to go to another bank, I want to shut all the banks down. So that's my story. Thank you very much.